You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. We'll talk about what we see at stores and what the future may hold for our industry.
Imagine if Starbucks and McDonald's ran the exact same promotion in every one of their stores on the same day. It'd be amazing. I mean, people would be talking about it everywhere. That number of stores, roughly 30,000, is also the number of stores that last year participated in the NACS 24/7 day. So this 24/7, we expect even more, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Joining us today is Anna Felz. She is Director of Brand Management for TXB Stores, and she was a participant in last year's 24/7 day. She's going to be a participant again this year. So first off, welcome, Anna.
Thanks, Jeff. Great to be here.
So I'll give a little bit more of an explanation of 24/7 day before we dive right into it. We came up with the idea for 24/7 day about 5 years ago. This is our 5th anniversary. So that kind of ties into our theme this year, which is High Five for Heroes. The idea is 24/7 day, which is every July 24th, celebrates heroes, and it allows our industry to celebrate heroes however they want to define heroes. It can be first responders, it could be fire, it can be name your hero and set up a celebration. And the idea is NACS gives you all the tools to do that. So I'll just end it right there. We hold it on, by the way, July 24th. That is 7/24. You'll get it, 24/7. And that's what we do. We do things around the clock, and that's what heroes do. So that's why we want to celebrate them. So, Anna, you've been active with TXB in community. Can you talk about where 24/7 day fits in the broader scheme of things of what TXB does?
Yeah, so we've partnered with NACS and participated in this 24/7 day for all the years that I've been with the company, at least, so the last 3 or 4 years. And it's a nice tie-in because, most all of our stores are open 24/7, 365 days a year. And these first responders, the medical personnel, volunteers, oftentimes, we are their go-to resource or the place they go. We may be one of the only available or open options for them. And our team members, they're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. So are all these first responders, right? And they're going above and beyond every day to help keep the community safe. We try to do the same thing. Like in our stores, we very much see our convenience stores as community stores. And by participating in this one-day event, that's honestly a very small amount of effort, like the least we could do to help say thank you to these incredible individuals that are serving every day.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You hit it on the head. Where these are heroes. We know that more than half of EMTs are working second and third shift. They may not have dinner until 2 a.m, and they'd like to have something better than a vending machine. So that you're open, that all these other convenience stores are open, serving heroes when they need it. It also ties in well because who doesn't like heroes? I mean, that's basically what every movie is now. There's nobody that is anti-hero unless, I guess, Taylor Swift. But okay, that's a song titled "Swifties Don't Hit Me Up and Say I'm a Hater." I did that for SEO, so if we get a lot of hits, that's why. But no, really, it's something that really aligns with what we believe in. That's who we serve. And we're also, depending upon where you are in the country, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, etc., oftentimes convenience stores are the last to close and the first to open right after the heroes have already cleaned up things. So they often are aligned also beyond those 24/7 hours of operation. They're as Anna, you said, 365 days a year as well. How do you tell the story about what TXB means in communities.
Yeah, so most of our stores were located here in Texas. We have them all over Texas, and we've had quite the weather upsets here the last 2 years. This past winter, we had an ice storm that shut the entire central Texas and Austin area down. Hundreds, thousands of homes out of power, businesses out of power, roads closed down, people couldn't drive, people out of power and water for days. And, there were no grocery stores open, there weren't restaurants open. And we had some managers, some team members that walked to work to open the doors because people needed milk for their families or, diapers for their babies or water.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of the unsung heroes, right, within the community, we donated tons of water and food, and not just for, the medical personnel, but just for guests that our POS system wasn't even working. We gave away stuff because people needed food and water. And this is something that, we do these types of things every day. And so the NACS 24/7, we're not the only ones doing these kind of initiatives, right? Giving away water, food when it's needed, supporting local schools and churches and organizations. There's a lot of other, C-store members that are doing the same thing, but it's hard sometimes, I think, to see the broader impact of what all these awesome hundreds of operators are doing. But when we all come together and do it on this one day, it's like you said at the beginning, imagine if every single Starbucks and McDonald's all got together and did a promotion. It'd have a huge impact. And I feel like this kind of brings some light to the power that we can have to affect positive change, right? When we all come together as a group.
Yeah, and I looked up, just for the record, there are roughly 30,000 McDonald's and Starbucks in the country. And last year, an estimated 30,000 convenience stores were part of 24/7 Day. There's 150,174 convenience stores in the United States. So roughly 1 out of every 5 stores in the country in its 5th year is participating in 24/7 Day. And that's an incredible embrace of the program. And that includes one store operators to stores that have hundreds or even thousands of stores. So anybody that wants to join can join. And by join, I mean, we'll provide you with the free assets. We'll give you the playbook. We'll give you all the materials that you need to do any sort of outreach to welcome heroes on that day. And of course, you can customize them. I'm sure, Anna, you have brand guidelines that you want to adhere to. So you kind of take what we've provided and then you put the TXB logo and anything else associated with that to make it to fit in the family that you want the brand to be. But take us through some of the assets that you use as part of 24/7.
Yeah, so I will say NACS does a great job providing and supplying a lot of templates and assets. So I take those, I use them in press release to send to local media. I think the more hyper-localized you can do your outreach, the better coverage and response you'll get. And then there's some visual assets that I use within the press kit. So NACS provides some great art. And yes, you can customize it to include your logo, your brand on there. And then I use them in our social media, both in our company social media pages and in our CEO's on his social platforms. One thing I am looking to do this year that might be new is creating like a photo backdrop, almost like a photo booth where we could do some actual like high fives for heroes or take a picture with, your hero and kind of continue the celebration and the recognition for these heroes. I want to give them the option to get some TXB swag. So instead of, if they want to get food or drink, we've done that in the past, they still can, but also giving them the option this year to get a cool TXB shirt or hat or mug or something, where they can kind of, we're supporting them, high five for heroes, and then they can also kind of support us or rep our brand at the same time. I think could be really cool.
Oh, I think you just raised the bar with that discussion about the photo booth and the high fives and doing something with heroes. I think you just gave us a whole new set of ideas to embrace. But like you talked about media and how do you do media outreach now? Now, for example, we're in the Washington, D.C. market. You probably don't want to send a press release to the Washington Post. They get a lot of stuff, but there's these weekly newspapers that come out every Thursday, and they are thirsty for news. And that's the one that it seems like the local neighborhood reads. So, Anna, when you're talking about hyper local, it's those newspapers, those news outlets that are in the area, the local radio station that they all have various news programs, and they're happy to say, hey, anybody that's a hero, come on by, and this happens on 24/7 day. So think that way when you're looking at media. Now, I will tell you that we did a wrap up when we looked at all the media attention that 24/7 day got last year. And 24/7 day was a little difficult last year. It was on a Sunday. It's the lightest day of the year for a lot of the week. I'm sorry. For most convenience stores, but still quite popular. This year it's on a Monday, which is a pretty good day to start the week. But last year we found that we had just short of 1 billion media impressions, 1 billion with a B, and not one single one was negative. They were all neutral or positive, which I've never been associated with a campaign where there wasn't at least one hater in the bunch. And this was all positive. Great way to enhance the brand in a year or a series of years where there's just so many things that are bumming people out and finding ways to get in arguments about things. This feels like a pretty easy way to unite and to just tell people, hey, you know what? We're a little bit more positive than the other guys.
Yeah, that's pretty unheard of to not have any negative references at all with any coverage. But there's nothing negative or critical about this, right? It's a win-win because it's all good all around.
Yeah, and so the assets, like I said, if we have a website, the NACS Foundation is technically the sponsor of 24/7 day. So it runs through the foundation, and our foundation is at conveniencecares.org. Go there, find all the information you need to sign up and do anything like that.
Jeff, also, I know that last year NACS provided a PSA, a public service announcement kind of script, and I believe they're doing so again this year. So that's also something that, again, it may or may not work well in your market or depending on your target audience, but it's no additional work for the retailer, really. NACS provides that, and NACS also does a lot of their own publication or distribution to more national media and industry press. So I do just want to say for the retailers out there, like, it is a lot of the work is done for you. You're not having to reinvent the wheel and come up with a lot of this from scratch.
Yeah, and we're working with a group that is also spreading the message with a spreadsheet and finding local newspapers, social, etc., to just help amplify the message. And as I said, it's as much about connecting with customers and saying, here's one more way that we are a community store. Let's feel good about everything for a day, but really, we believe in this community every day of the year. So it's as you said, Anna, it's another tool in your community playbook to execute, and it just gives a little different flavor. It's a more of a national one that hopefully can kind of spread the same message, but maybe to a different audience.
And Jeff, that's why I love the idea of doing an in-store photo backdrop where you are high-fiving a hero or thanking a hero or where we can kind of keep this community engagement going and supporting it with visuals and pictures, and even having that coverage last more than just a day, right? You could keep that up for a week or a week before and a week after, and talking about coming together as an industry. That might even be something that we look at doing, kind of a similar thing where we have a template, and here's the size, and here's the hashtag, and maybe there's someone on the NACS board or supply group that wants to help produce these even. Could be something cool to look at together as well.
Yeah. Now, this all really kind of started with something from Texas. It was 2017 when we had Hurricane Harvey, and then there were two other hurricanes. Just Harvey was just devastating to Houston, and that really started our thinking of how do we create a day to recognize the amazing heroes that just helped in repairing communities, starting in the Houston Gulf area, in other areas, Puerto Rico, that were devastated by hurricanes. So unfortunately, it's early June. It's the beginning of hurricane season, so we know we're going to have more. We don't know where they're going to hit. But here we are in the beginning of June. 24/7 days, about a month and a half away. And Anna, I know that you prepare early for things like this, but any words of advice for how a retailer, whether a sophisticated marketer or somebody relatively new or not that well informed on marketing, might begin to prepare for 24/7 day?
Yeah, most important, get your team on board. Okay, so find an offer that you can have available at all of your locations. Okay, whether that's one location, 5 or 500. We try to steer away from offers that are only at select stores, right? Because it's much easier to market it across all your store locations. So pick an offer, and whether it's one offer or this year we're giving the choice of, and we're providing 5 different offers that they can select from. But all 5 offers are available at all of our stores. So pick an offer, and then make sure you communicate that offer with your team. So whether you have a special PLU that they need to enter, or you create a barcode, like scan sheet to have at each register, it doesn't matter how great your idea is or how great your offer is. If you can't execute it day of store level, it's a flop. So maybe start small and pick an easy offer. If it's, I don't know, a drink or a candy bar or something that's easily accessible. Inform your team, remind them closer to time. And then I think it's important to explain the why behind it. So instead of just saying, hey, we're giving away these free items on this day, to tell them why we're doing it. And so that way they're able to have some buy-in. And I know for me personally, 10 years ago when I slashed an artery in my arm, my life was saved by a first responder. And I'm not unique in that. I'm sure there's many team members that have had similar experiences. So I think it's good for them to know the why behind. And then we do honor system the day of. If someone's in uniform, we're going to offer it to them. And but if they mention it, or it's all honor system.
Yeah, and that's how you build credibility. And if there's one or two that just doesn't feel right, but that's one of those things where you'll do better by just having those criteria together. What everybody can do, and that just makes it that much more of a pleasant experience for everybody. Because, as you said, those on the front lines are the ones executing it, and when you tell the story of why it's important, everybody loves stories. Branding, marketing, it's storytelling. So that's a big part of it. So,
and what
Anna.
we do down to the level of detail is, and this is how we're doing it this year, is we'll have the offers we'll set them up in our price book, create a UPC barcode for each one, and then I'll just create a one-page sheet that the stores can easily print out where they'll scan that barcode. It'll only work on that day, on July 24th. And that way we're also able to track and see which offer was the most valuable or the most redeemed. So that's how we're doing it from a store level execution.
Data. That's how you figure out what works and what doesn't work. Speaking of what works, if you want to see what TXB is like, of course, you have a website, and it's what,
TXBstores.com.
Stores.com. And of course, we did an Ideas to Go with Anna and other leaders at TXB. So if you want to see that video, go to convenience.org/ideas to go, 2 being like the way Prince would write it with the number 2 instead of spelling it out. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, to learn more about 24/7 Day, get involved. And it's not just limited to retailers. If a supplier wants to be involved, partner with a local retailer, contact NACS, see how you can get involved also. It's an amazing opportunity. For last year, 30,000 stores. The sky's the limit on how many participate this year. And it's a way to tell our story in a year where people want to hear stories about heroes. So thanks for joining us today, Anna.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. And if anyone wants to try some really good tacos and tenders, come on down to Texas. We'd love to feed you lunch.
Thank you all for listening to Convenience Matters.
Convenience Matters is brought to you by NACS and produced in partnership with Human Factor. For more information, visit convenience.org.